Damn these Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't ever met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine. The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time.
This highway
does not know my name, and
I don't care, no, I don't care.
When he's headed his way.
Headed my way.
Welcome back to Fish Life Podcast, guys. To my left, your right, as always, Mr. Billy Lawson.
You did it smoother this time. I'm proud of you. You're moving up in the world, old son.
I'll tell you what, man. That camera scares me, and I'm getting better with it.
What about it, man? It's another cold winter night in East Texas. Hey,
we caught it yesterday.
We caught a couple of them old good ones today. You know what I'm saying? Like them ones that had that belly kind of look like mine, like they've been going to Whataburger every day.
I could have used one of those yesterday.
I bet you could have in your turn. Caught a couple of them big old pre-spawn females in, shallow water around grass. It was, I would say the first couple, like, sure enough, late stage pre-spawn fish that I've seen. Those fish will, if it'll warm up, they'll probably spawn in February. They were looking real good.
That's what we like to hear. And tonight, guys, we have a very special guest. But first, we're going to get to a user question.
We're just going right in.
Come on.
We're going to go right in on the user. Hey, this ought to tell you guys, y'all's topics that y'all want to hear about, whatever y'all want to talk about is our priority, because we're leading the show off with it. And I don't even know it. We have not pre-gamed this as usual. This is unscripted.
That's right.
Let me hear what we got.
Mr. Scott Ray from Northeast Oklahoma says, would be interested if y'all would talk about grass in the spring. What types to look for, how to identify, when to fish certain types, what baits, where to look for certain areas. We really have no true grass lakes in Northeast Oklahoma, and when I come to Fork every year in late February, that's the biggest mystery.
That is a great question, and it's a good question because today we were fishing some grass, and I was talking to my customer about the difference in what do I look for in a grass flat now versus how do I find fish in grassy areas when they start to spawn.
So basically the approach in the grass.
Yeah, and so there's definitely a difference. Now we're focusing a lot on stuff outside of the grass. Mainly our main focus is finding the elevation change, the ditches, the drains, the lower spots within that grass flat that maybe don't even have grass in them, but they're surrounded by good, healthy grass. So we're looking for the drains and ditches with elevation change that have the most healthy grass around them. And in the springtime, they start getting spread out on these flats, and it can kind of be a little bit of no rhyme or no reason to where they go. And some of these areas, not so much this year on Fork, there's not an overwhelming amount of grass this year on Fork, but at times there can be. And on some of our other lakes, Rayburn, Toledo at times, a lot of our lakes have a lot of grass in them. Lake Welsh has an overwhelming amount of grass in it for how little it is. It can be overwhelming to look at this vast expanse of grassy area and say, okay, where do I start? When these fish are spawning, and they can be in kind of any corner of the flat that they want to be and do what they need to do with spawning, it can be a task to find them. And so what we talked about today, and what I would tell Ray, Mr. Ray, thank you, by the way, for sending this in. Great question. Is that I look for a couple things, because now elevation changes don't matter. Creek channel edges, drains, they don't really matter as much once the fish start wanting to spawn. There'll still be some fish that relate to those, and we do still fish those some, but they're not nearly as important. Right now, they're everything.
Right.
And so what I look for is two things: the health of the grass and water clarity. Because fish want to spawn in cleaner water, especially bigger fish want to spawn in cleaner water because they can now spawn deeper. When fish lay their eggs, they need a certain amount of light penetration to incubate their eggs.
Correct.
Okay, so if you have dirty water, then the fish has to lay the eggs shallower to get the light penetration to them.
Right.
So the bigger fish are always going to seek out the little bit of a cleaner water within a given area to lay their eggs in so that they can spawn a little bit deeper, which makes them feel more comfortable.
Right.
Bigger fish like to spawn as deep as they can. They want to be I always find the biggest bed fish just on the edge of where you can barely make them out. You can just see a shadow. You can't really see them looking. There's, exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, your bigger fish will spawn where you either barely can see them or can't see them at all. Sometimes they'll be spawning.
That's right.
So water clarity is very important in that situation. The health of the grass is very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Because all the way up till right before and certainly immediately after they spawn, fish want something to eat. Well, the health of the grass, the healthier the grass is, the thicker it'll be, the more shade, the more algae
oxygen.
it'll collect, the more oxygen it'll put in the water. So everything's going to draw more bait. The healthy grass will draw more bait and more life to that area, which is where that fish will be drawn to right up before and right after it spawns. Therefore, that fish will spawn very close to that area, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I look for. I look for the health of the grass, and I look for water clarity. And that can be a bit of a job to search that out in something like a glade creek that's, I don't know, a couple miles wide or whatever. It's not a couple miles, but it's a big old area.
Right.
Real broad. I mean, and they can spawn anywhere in that bay.
That's right.
And so it can take some time to hunt those areas down that have that clean water and that healthy grass.
Mm-hmm.
But just pick a corner, pick a section, pick a big area, cover a ton of water, and wherever the best grass and cleanest water is, that's where you start in the springtime for me. So really pay attention to those two things when you get here in the spring.
It's pretty good stuff there. So like you said, just to kind of sum it all up, health of the grass, depressions are...
Well, not so much once you get to spawning time. I mean, it's never a bad idea to fish it, because here's the deal, not all these fish spawn at once.
Right.
So when you got fish spawning, until you get to the very end, there's always going to be pre and there's always going to be post-spawn fish.
Correct.
Using those drains as they funnel in and out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's never a bad idea to fish the drains and creek channel edges within the grass flat. That's never a bad idea.
Right.
But you're not going to have near as many fish in there once they start spreading out to spawn.
Right.
And the areas that will tend to concentrate more fish, and especially the bigger fish, will be the areas with the clean water and the healthy grass.
Gotcha. Good deal. Well, guys,
Good start.
Good start. Very good start.
That's, if you can't tell, I like fishing grass.
Yeah, I don't know. These two guys right here doing this podcast, we kind of fish grass a lot.
A little bit
if we
obsessed
got
with it?
A little bit. So that leads us into our very special guest this evening.
It's all about the grass.
It's all about the grass.
Fishes love the grass,
Hey,
Roxanne.
that's right.
I'm just saying. Okay, who are we talking to tonight?
So tonight we have a very special guest, Mr. Jonathan Bowling.
Jonathan Bowling. Man, for those that don't know, Jonathan Bowling is one of the most impressive young fishermen that I have seen in a very, very long time. This is a lot for John to live up to, but he really, really reminds me of Eric Wright.
Yes.
Eric started guiding at Lake Fork when he was 19. Eric grew up on the lake, was taking a bunch of grown men's money in tournaments when he was about 16. And he started guiding when he was 19, and everybody's like, dude, you can't be a guide when you're 19. Like, you're not there yet. But Eric was. John's very similar. He's only 21. He's already been guiding for 2 or 3 years on broken bow. And folks, it's always hard to say who he's the best up there.
Yes.
He catches hammers. I mean giants.
Yes.
On broken bow, and he is an unbelievably talented angler. I know him personally. He's become a friend over the last year or two. He's a very good person, and I have to say all this now before we call him because I don't want him hearing this. But he's a very, very good person, a very hardworking young man. He's a very, very talented fisherman.
Very.
Let's call. You want to call? Let's just call him.
Call him.
Let's just call him and see what's
he's
up.
got to say.
What's going on, everybody?
J. Bo, Mr. Jonathan Bowling. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing I'll just say good. I'm not going to say any better than good because I'm tired. It's been a long day. So I'm just going to take that back and say good because I'm here.
You're just going to stick with good. We can work with good. How cold is it up there in Oklahoma right now?
The temperature says it's 31. Wind chill says 18. So it's cold.
That is, you going fishing in the morning?
Oh, heck no.
I just had to check. Well, hey, man,
way too cold.
We certainly appreciate you coming on the podcast and talking to us. And we are going to get into some fishing stuff. But we have 2 questions we ask every guest when they come on the show. And I don't know how many of these you've caught and saw. You may be wise to what we're about to ask you. But Chris is going to ask you a couple questions we like to ask every guest.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right, number one out of the box is going to tell the listeners a lot about you. Tupac or Biggie?
California love all the way.
Come on with
Oh,
it.
man. As you asked that question, I kind of paused in my head and I was like, wait a minute, he's only 21. He may not know nothing about either one of them. I didn't think about that. You're the youngest guest we've ever had on the show to ask that question. I didn't think about the fact that you were like a baby when we were bumping Tupac and Biggie back in the day.
That's right. Well, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
the answer to the next question ought to be a pretty good one, too.
I want to hear this one from John. I'm interested because this boy right here, his neck is certainly not any other shade other than red. I know
That's
that.
So if you could pick a hairstyle, John, to bring back, what hairstyle would you bring back?
I'd probably pick the mullet all the way.
That's a pretty common answer. That's a pretty, the deal is everybody we talk to is about as redneck as it comes because they're all in the fishing world. And like most of them say the mullet.
So hold on. Let's. Billy brought up a good point last week with Mr. Heath Taylor. The John Daly mullet or like the Seth Fighter Joe Dirt mullet?
Billy Ray Cyrus. Like which one?
Seth Fighter mullet.
Seth
Fighter stays on the side.
That's a good mullet.
That's pretty solid mullet.
That's a good mullet. When you can braid the mullet,
that's right.
That's doing it.
That's right. So
Fighter llama all the way.
the llama, we've got our first llama reference. So, man, we want to get into some fishing. Hey, we appreciate you hearing us on that, man. We want to get into some fishing stuff now. Hey, man, give us, not too long, but give us, kind of a short synopsis of how this whole deal got rolling for you. What brought you into the fishing world in general as a young man, and then how did you get started guiding? How'd that end up happening for you?
Well, really, long story short, I've literally fished since I was like probably 3. And we got our first boat when I was probably 6 or 7, and we started fishing some here and there. And let's see, I've been homeschooled for like half my life. Like, I've probably been homeschooled since I was 10. But what that let me do is literally, I was on the lake literally every day because I could get my work done for the day in like 3 hours. And so once that happened, I just started doing that. And then I started watching literally all these guys that was on like the tours, stuff like that. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Because I never wanted to literally every day wake up at 8 o'clock, go to work, leave at 5. That just wasn't me.
Right.
I did not want to do that. To me, that's not a life at all. And I wanted to be a guide. Probably by the age of 16 is when that I knew that, because I've always liked to watch everybody else get bit. I'd rather watch somebody catch a fish. And so when I was 16, that's what I was literally wanting to do. And, man, my mom and dad, they pushed me to do it. They said, look, if it's what you want to do, you need to do it.
That's
and
great.
I've heard everybody else, you can't make a living doing that. You have to go to college,
right.
Blah, blah, blah. The college wasn't for me at all.
Well, man, you're very, very, you're very, very fortunate in what you had there with your folks because, most parents would probably want to encourage their kids to go down the college path and all that stuff. And kudos to your parents for supporting you and chasing what you were passionate about and encouraging you to do that. And I'm sure probably helped you get started in a lot of ways. That's awesome of them. So kudos to them. And, man, what a blessing for you there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what helped, I think, with them, the main thing that helped them out is my dad only went to college for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even think he went for 2 years. Every time that he would go to college, he would literally be sick. Like, he did not like it at all. So he saw it as like that way too. He's like, okay, look, if he doesn't want to do it, I'm not going to literally force him to do it. And pretty much the legal age up here to guide, I think it's like either 18, I think. So pretty much when I turned 18, we got online, got all that stuff done, and that's basically how that whole thing was. First year guiding, I probably ran 4 trips, but then after that, dude, it got off and it got insane.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I know we don't want to pump you up too much, but we did kind of let the viewers know before we called you that you have done some awesome things up there and really kind of taken over that Broken Bow market and become the big bass guy up there, I think, as far as the way the public sees it, because you have done an amazing job of catching a lot of really big fish or having your customers catch a lot of really big fish up there. And now you come to a point in your life where, Broken Bro it is an amazing fishery. It has some really good fish in it. It's a beautiful place, a great tourist place and all that. But
Oh, yeah.
the mecca of bass fishing, especially trophy bass fishing and guiding in this region, is Lake Fork. And that's undisputed.
Oh, yeah.
You can't, nobody would argue that. And so now we've been talking, you are just about to move to Lake Fork. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We will be down there the end of this month.
So here real soon coming up. And, man, I'm excited to get you down here. I know we're going to work together and kind of hang out a lot because we're good friends anyway. And we're both, psychos about this fishing deal. Can't get enough of it. So we'll be hanging out a lot. But, man, I look forward to getting you down here. I look forward to getting your young, open-minded set of eyes, bringing maybe a little bit of a different skill set from your background to Lake Fork and seeing what you do. I know you're going to do big things. And also for all the people that are listening or watching this, let them, I want to let them know that, hey, if you want to get out with Jonathan Bowling, you can always reach us at yourlakeforkguide.com or the phone number on the screen, 903-519-1542. You can contact us there if you want to take a trip with John. We'll be happy to. And once you get down here, we're going to introduce the folks to you a little more officially. We're going to get out on the water and make some content together and have a good time.
Sweet. But yeah, dude, we are. See, I talked with my wife here. See, I told her, I said, look, this is taking forever. It's like the past week, us having to get everything together. I'm like, just get me to Texas. I'm just like, get me to Texas.
You're going to be a Texican.
Yeah, we're going to move you down here and import you. You're going to be in a whole new country here in a few weeks, Bubba.
All the bad things I've ever said about y'all, now I'm coming down there.
Are you an OU fan?
Yeah, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh, good Lord. The good news is, at least, here's the deal. When you move to Texas, OU, that color is really close to the good Texas team. You don't have to wear that burnt orange garbage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we can get you an A&M shirt. We can get you an A&M shirt, and you'll be pretty close. You know what I mean?
Sounds good to me, because that's actually my second team that I like. So, that'll work for me.
Always knew I liked this kid.
Look,
he's a good boy. He's a good kid, man.
Don't you love it when a plan comes together?
You're rolling with the right crew around here. I know that.
Dude. That's good, man. I'm really excited to I'm excited to see the content y'all are going to kick out for one, because it's going to be you kind of know what you're getting if you've watched the channel for a long time. You know the direction we go,
right.
And Jonathan is so good at so many different things.
Yeah,
it opens so many doors.
Exactly, like I said, different background, different perspective, bringing some of that freshness. And listen, I've seen some guys come and go over the years at Lake Fork, and I've seen some of the new ones that come in, and they come in with a little bit different background and perspective. And sometimes those guys kind of beat the brakes off all of us for a while. So no pressure, J-Bo.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm expecting you to come in here and just catch them better than everybody, just so you know.
I think you'll be just fine.
I'll just say this. I'm going to try to, but if I suck, it's not me. It's the lake.
It's the lake.
There's no fish.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know how many times.
I just suck.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been to Lake Fork and said, there are no fish in this lake. This is ridiculous. What is going on?
Well, that's the same thing, dude. This lake up here, and crap, what, me and you talked probably a month ago, Chris, and it's like, he asked me, he said, okay, what do you like to do the most? What do you like to, do you like to fish offshore? Do you like to fish up, blah, blah, blah. My deal, I didn't really know what to say to it, because I live on a lake where you have to do it all. Like, it rained 6 inches the other night. We have one boat ramp that is actually, that you can use right now. The lake rose like 13 foot.
Yeah.
In a matter of like 2 days. So it's like you have to do all of this stuff. And I love to fish out offshore. But when the water rises that much, literally it'll rise 13 foot, and they'll have it dropped back down 10, 12 foot. Once it peaks, it'll take them like a day and a half.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of days on this lake that we don't catch crap.
Yeah, a lot of changing conditions that you have to try and adjust to, and I think that's a good thing to train yourself as a fisherman. That's a good thing to have. So,
let me ask you one thing, John. What is one thing, because you're no stranger to Lake Fork, what is one thing that you're excited most about coming to Lake Fork as far as fishing is concerned? Like, what's...
Besides getting to hang out with me all the time, of course.
Right.
I wouldn't go that far with it. So, my favorite thing about the lake, or like my favorite thing, like to fish? Are you talking about like fishing offshore, fishing up in the grass?
No, just like what's the one thing you're most excited about this move for you?
Coming down to a place that gives you the opportunities that I don't have here.
As far as the size of fish?
Getting to meet that and getting to meet all of these guys down there that are super nice, good guys, and just because the thing about this up here is you have guys that fish, but you don't have guys that actually fish, if that makes sense.
You don't have a lot of classic appearances rolling around the lake and bass, major tournament wins. Like, that's one thing about Lake Fork is the crew that rolls out on that pond every day is pretty unmatched at just about any other lake on earth. Maybe Gunnersville can hang with it, but other than that, like, the guys that go out there and guide 200 days a year, there's not a group of guides on earth that match up to the accomplishments that roll around. I mean, there's a bunch of dudes that have fished on the biggest tours in the world and won. Guys that have fished in the Bassmaster Classic. Like, there's some unbelievable fishermen that step out on that lake 200 days a year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the main thing about it is you can literally walk in somewhere to eat and you might see somebody and you're like, holy crap, that's,
Mark Pat.
And it's just, that's the main thing. That's the main thing about it that I like. I mean, it's just like with Mark. I talked to Mark here a while back, and he was just, I met him 3 summers ago, and dude, that, meeting somebody like that to me was so cool.
Yeah.
And then I talked to him I literally talked to him while we was eating in there. He was with some guys that he was, I think he had a father that day. I think he had a father and a son that day, and I talked to them, dude. Super great guy. I'm just ready for all of that because to me, fishing just isn't about loading your boat up, going to the lake.
Yeah.
It's not just about that. It's talking to people that share it and do the same stuff that you do day in and day out. That's why I would love to get down there as soon as I can.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat group. And you're right. You can sit down and eat lunch next to Mark Pack, who's unbelievable. One of the most innovative minds a lot of people don't realize this dude's invented a lot of stuff that kind of changed the game in fishing. Like, he's done some things in the industry on the back end of it, in the manufacturing side, that are unbelievable. On top of that, he's got a major tour win under his belt. He's got a bunch of professional tournament appearances, a lot of high finishes, cash, checks cashed, and he's probably caught as many big bags of fish as anybody on planet Earth. And that's just one guy. You might pull up in there next to Kelly Jordan one day, or Takahiro Omori, or Mark Stevenson, who's a Texas Fishing Hall of Famer, for crying out loud. Like, you see them all the time up there, and it is a cool thing about Lake Fork, no doubt about it, man. And for the people that might be interested in hanging out with John this year on the boat out of Lake Fork, we kind of failed to mention this, but you're moving down here to guide down here now, but by no means is this your first rodeo on Lake Fork. You've been fishing Lake Fork for a very long time, actually, have you not?
Yes, I have. I take it back. I started fishing it back in around 2014, and I've been coming every year. So you've seen Lake
Fork off and on for 6 years, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, good deal, man. I know, hey, we can't wait to have you down here. I know you're moving down here in the next couple of weeks, be here at the end of January. You're going to fish it for a month straight, and then you're going to start running some guide trips in March. And, man, we can't wait to get you down here, and I can't wait to hang out with you and have a good time, talk some shop stuff, and we look forward to it. We appreciate you doing this for us, bud.
Yes, sir, man. It's just one of them things, dude. I can't tell y'all. I just cannot tell y'all enough. Thank y'all for everything. It's just awesome just to get to talk to people out there, and to me, it's just cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting to reach people that I would have literally never, ever, got to reach before. So to me, that's just really cool.
Yeah, man, absolutely. But this is only the beginning for you. I am thoroughly looking forward to where this journey over the next year and even beyond that takes you. I'm excited to get you down here. So y'all take care of yourself. Tell your old lady I said hello, and we'll see y'all soon. Okay, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a good one, John. Thank you.
Yes, sir. See you, Billy.
That dude is going to catch some hammers.
That kid's for real. Like,
he's the real deal.
Like, he's really, really for real.
So him and I talked on the phone the other night for about an hour.
Before you get it, the thing I like most about him, you hear what he said? You know what he's most excited about? Just getting hanging out around people that love the same thing he loves.
That's right.
Like, he does it for the right reasons. It's not about him proving how great he is. It's not about him trying to, cement his ego or anything or pat his own back. Like, he does it, everything he does for the right reasons. I love that about the kid.
Oh, yeah. I told him that we were talking the other night on the phone, and I said, do you like fishing tournaments too? He said, yeah, I'll fish jackpots every now and then. I said, well, do me a favor and let me know if you're going to fish a jackpot on one of my lakes before I go out there and
That's the thing. He's kind of like he tournament fishes, and he wouldn't mind fishing the tour someday if that worked out.
Right.
It's not like his biggest goal in life. Like, he just wants to fish every day.
Yeah.
And he likes taking people fishing, like he said. He likes seeing them get bit. And so he's kind of like not the most, I don't want to say he's not dedicated, because I know he works hard at the tournaments he does fish, but it's not like his biggest tournament fishing is not his biggest deal. He's already won a BFL.
Yeah.
He's 21. Like, he's unbelievably good.
There's a name of a guy that is fishing right now on the biggest stage of them all, and his name's Jacob Wheeler, and I believe he had a similar resume leading up to.
Yeah, at an even younger age,
Yes.
though. I mean, he was fishing in 4 Wood Cups when he was 19 and all that
Right.
stuff. But, yeah, and I don't know if Bolin's, I don't know with his deal. Like, he likes all the other stuff so much. I don't know if he'll ever pour everything into tournament fishing, whereas like a guy like Wheeler, he was all tournament fishing from when he was like a 13-year-old.
Right.
Like, that's all he cared about.
Yeah.
And so that was his deal. But, from a raw talent-wise at that age, he's not far behind some of those guys that are at the highest level. He's so good.
It's so crazy. Man.
And, speaking of tournament fishing, I know that's something that we kind of wanted to talk about tonight. Before we get any further, I do want to remind y'all, just like we started the show off tonight with a viewer question, if you have a topic or question or anything you want to discuss or want us to discuss on the podcast, I should say, you can always text it to us at the number on the screen right now, that 903-519-1542. Send us anything you want to talk about. We want to talk about that more than anything else. Now, Chris, tournament fishing season is about to get going.
Yes, sir. We got an FLW on Rayburn.
Got an FLW event on Rayburn here next weekend.
Next weekend. That's right.
Actually, when the viewers are hearing this on Friday, it's already started.
Right. So, what I would like to do is I would like to compare the fields tonight. And we're not going to stop at that. We're going to go over some of the stops they're going to make along the way. We'll probably do the first quarter.
So we're going to talk about, let's just call it what it is. Well, we're going to talk about the biggest rivalry in fishing, BASS and FLW or MLFW or whatever it is.
The Alphabet Series, bro.
BPT, MILF League, I don't know what it's called, but it's one of those things.
All right.
What does MILF mean anyway?
Man, I like to fish.
Is that what?
Isn't that right?
Bro, that was great. You nailed that. I don't know if you're aware, but you nailed that. I was trying to put you on the spot and make you have to pause, and you just came with it, dog.
Hey, man.
You were bringing the heat tonight, son.
Hey, nothing but fire, baby. So, let's go over the FLW schedule first. So, January 23rd through 26th, Sam Rayburn.
Nice.
Good. February 20th through 23rd, the Harris Chain.
Nice.
Big fish. March 19th through 22nd, Lake Martin.
Logan Martin or Lake Martin?
Lake Martin in Alabama.
Well, Logan Martin's in Alabama, too. It's something named Martin. It ain't Martin Creek. They ain't got no power plant.
Whichever one's in Alexander City.
I don't know.
I don't either. Anyways.
Can people in Alabama even spell Alexander? Sorry, Alabama. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people in Alabama bass fish. I'm sorry.
I got one thing to say. Go Tigers.
Oh, hey, shots fired. Oh, my goodness.
All right, and then let's go to April 2nd through the 5th, Cherokee Lake in Tennessee.
Hey, I'm going to guarantee you something right now. The Tigers are going to win the national championship.
100%. It's done.
Of course, by the time y'all listen, this national championship has already been played, but I promise you the Tigers
They're
will
only
win.
giving them 6. I was like, are you kidding me?
You know they're both Tigers, right?
I know.
Okay, so the Tigers are going to win.
Yeah, that's why I didn't specify who I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right. So, and then you've got another one a couple weeks later. So there's 2 April tournaments. And
Okay.
the second one is Hartwell,
Okay.
which great fishery.
Why are we talking about FLW? Let's talk about BPT and BASS.
I'm just, hey man,
Okay, you know what? First of all, okay, let's take care of FLW right now because
Okay.
we're going to talk about some of the players in the game. We're going to talk about some of the rosters from each. Let's just go ahead and I'll say this: FLW is now minor league fishing. Like I don't know why they don't just call it that. You got
100%.
major league fishing BPT and you got minor league fishing FLW.
That's right.
It's not this like that's a good schedule. I love that schedule. Unfortunately, it's not going to have any really there's some good sticks on FLW, but that field is not going to compare to the other two. It's not.
I'll rattle off a couple names.
So wait a minute. Let's tell me where BASS and BPT. Do you have their schedules? Mm-hmm. Let's look at those schedules. That's because this is the deal, man. This is like the battle to keep the big name tour anglers on BPT. Like BASS is trying to add more into it and bringing some back into it. Like this is the rivalry. Let's talk about. I want to see what their schedules do to line up because I think. As we go over this, what we will see, and I don't know them offhand, but I think what we'll see as we compare these schedules is that there may or may not have been some intentional planning to compete directly with each other.
And so what you'll see is the BPT and the BASS schedules. What you'll see is a couple TBAs because of that competition in scheduling.
No kid. All right, let's go.
So first one out of the box for the elites,
Elite Series.
St. John's
River.
Thank you. Jeez.
Yep, you got it.
February 14th through the 17th to be announced.
When is St. John's River?
6th through the 9th.
Of February?
Yeah. I know.
They start there a lot. That's a normal starting place for them. It's good. It always is a good tournament. Rick Clun last year with that big spinner bug, dude, that was bad to the bone, Jack.
March 6th through the 8th, the Classic.
Gunnersville.
April 2nd through the 5th, Eufaula.
Which the Classic doesn't count because that's not this year's Elite Series.
Right.
But yeah, what was it? Eufaula?
Eufaula in April 2nd through the 5th.
Okay.
Then 16th to the 19th of April, Santee Cooper Lakes in Manning, South Carolina.
That's awesome.
May 29th through June 1st, one of my favorite elite stops ever and always will be, the Sabine River.
Really?
I love it. Because
When are they coming to Fork?
Texas Fest,
Which is what day?
June 5th through the 9th,
June 5th through the 9th. When is the Skeeter Owners Tournament?
the weekend after.
It's the weekend after. Okay, I was about to say, oh, Lord, we could have a problem. Houston.
Houston, we've got
That would be an issue if that was the same weekend.
Oh, man. But can you imagine? That's 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And them fish are going to get beat on.
Well, see, that's what everybody says. So that's actually a myth. I'm going to do Mythbusters. Somebody cue the Mythbusters intro music. We're going to bust some myths right now, folks at home. So everybody off the top of their head goes, oh, man, those fish got hammered when the Bassmasters was here. Bro, it's like 100 guys. It's like 80 guys.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me back up just a little bit. They're going to catch, those 100 guys are going to catch more fish than the average Joe.
Okay. Fair.
Typically.
Fair. Agreed.
So there's going to be certain patterns
Okay.
where here's where it's going to throw a monkey wrench.
Let me pause you right there. How many more fish are they going to catch than an average Joe? So we got 80, or let's say we got 100, because I don't know the exact number.
I think it's
so 100's a round number.
Right.
Okay. So let's say we got 100 Elite Series anglers. How many more fish are they going to catch than your average weekend angler? Is it going to be 5 times more? Is it going to be 10 times more? Is it going to be 3 times more?
Yeah.
What would you say it's going to be? How much better are they than an average angler?
Just shooting off the
Let's
hip.
go 5 times more.
I would
Let's
say
give
5
them
times.
a lot of credit.
Yeah.
They're going to catch, if you go out to Lake Fork in early June and catch 10 fish a day, they're going to catch 50 fish a day. I think that's a fair comparison.
That is fair.
I think it's a fair numbers adjustment there, right? Okay, so there's 500 guys, 500 normal guys fishing Lake Fork the weekend before the owners tournament. Guess what that is? Way less than normal.
That's right.
And let me tell you what else happens when they come here. A lot of recreational anglers do not fish. A lot of people that would have gone to Lake Fork June 5th through 9th will not touch it. They'll be there, but they won't fish June 5th through 9th.
That's true.
Some will, but most won't.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually are giving the fish a weekend reprieve in some ways.
That's also true.
Like that's the myth I'm talking about.
Right.
Everybody says, well, the Elite Series went there and hammered on the fish. No, actually they didn't, because it's Lake Fork,
Right.
and we normally have 1,000+ boats on any given weekend out there in May, June, April, whatever.
Right.
Like there's always 1,000 boats on Lake Fork in a weekend at that time. Well, now you've got guys that, they catch them better, but there's only 100 of them, so it's like 500 boats being there. So really, it's half the fish catching going on at best.
That's fair.
At best.
So,
Myth busted.
myth busted. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're trying to pre-fish for the Skeeter Owners Tournament this year,
Yeah, it's gonna be a little rough.
sorry about you.
But hey,
Things can
side note, might not be the most popular thing to say, but I'll say it because there's gonna be a lot of people that do it, and I don't think they're dumb. Like I would totally do this. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie and try to look like the holier than thou guy. I'm gonna tell you what I would do if I was fishing the owners tournament. I would come to Lake Fork. I wouldn't touch a fishing pole, and I would watch every guy out there and see where they caught them, and that would be where I fished. I'd come out and practice a day or two before and check some of those spots. But I would get a lot of ideas about patterns and areas based off But everybody does that when the Elite Series comes to. Dude,
That's right.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
Story time. Squirrel. We're chasing a squirrel. Here
Chase
we
it.
go. Follow me down the road. Let me paint you a picture. Make you want to hang it on your wall. Fishing is full of some of the most honest, sincere, God-fearing, hard-working, good people you'll ever meet. But for whatever reason, when it comes to fishing, it's perfectly acceptable to be a complete bald-faced liar and to be full of it
Fair.
and to be selfish.
Fair.
That's the culture of bass fishing. These are people that would never do this in any other aspect of their life, but it's okay to do it when we're talking about fishing.
Right.
Like that's how it is. So we're all full of it in fishing. Everybody, traditional fishing culture, everybody stretches the truth a little bit, whatever. A lot of ego in fishing too now. Mm-hmm. Fletcher. Whoa, shots fired again. A lot of ego in fishing, right?
He's a wolf. Leave him alone.
Yeah, well, I'm a sheepdog.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, last year, Chad Pipkins, Elite Series event. Chad Pipkins catches a 30-pound bag on day 2. He had a great first day and then an unbelievable second day and was in the lead after 2 days, right? Mm-hmm. Great job, Chad Pipkins. That's awesome. So, the funny part about that is, I know exactly where he caught those fish. And what was funny was kind of the weeks leading up to that, Ronnie Kelly, our good friend Captain Ron, had been busting some fish close to there on a frog. I had been sight fishing. We literally lost those fish the week before that tournament. They pulled out. Pipkins found them where they pulled out to, but they were on their way out to the main lake structure, and that's why he ran out of fish. Those fish were only in that area for a couple days, and it just collided with Chad Pipkins, and he capitalized on it to his credit. Oh, yeah. He found some fish in an area that, buddy, I fish that lake every day, and I've never seen anybody fish that stretch of water. There's not much there. It's not a point. It's not a big obvious creek bend. There's nothing there to cue you in that you should find a group of fish like that in that area. He did find them. However, he found them, and he busted them. He caught them real good.
Oh, yeah.
The problem was it wasn't an area that they hold in. It wasn't a structure they go to, and so they were kind of just passing through, right? And I know exactly what fish he was catching because right behind there, we'd done been catching them on the bank for like a month, and then they left. So I know how this happened. Literally had people telling Captain Ron and myself, people that fish Lake Fork every day, we're not dropping any names or anything, don't want to call anybody out, but literally had guys that are very well-established guides out there on Lake Fork and locals that are very well-established locals, good tournament fishermen in the local derbies and all that, complaining that Pipkins exposed their spot.
What spot?
Nobody's ever fished that stretch.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen anybody out there cranking like Pipkins was doing in that area. Like, that's not a thing. There's nothing there to key in on. Like, but guys saw him catch it there, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Because I know how this fishing thing works in people's heads. What it is they saw him bust them there. They knew they were going to go fish that as soon as the tournament was over. So in their head, they had to start telling people they've been fishing there for years. They didn't learn that from Pipkins because it's about their ego. And it's they don't mind telling the fib because you're allowed to do that in fishing, right?
Yeah.
And it's really about their ego. And they don't want anybody thinking they're hole jumping what they saw on the TV. But everybody does it. Even the guys that say they don't do it, when the Bassmasters come to town, dude, you know how many guys said that they threw a jerkbait on them shallow points after Brandon Cobb won doing it?
Right.
I ain't never seen anybody throw a dang jerkbait on them shallow points. That's a swim bait topwater deal.
Yeah.
And we've all done it that way forever and ever, amen.
Yeah. You see somebody doing something like that, you're thinking,
now
spook.
we're going to get to March, and these jokers going to be on them points with that jerkbait.
Oh, you can guarantee it. They're going to be throwing so many jerkbaits, there's going to be a wake all the way out in the boat lane.
So listen, what I'm telling you is, listen, let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100, as the young folks like to say.
100.
Let's be honest with each other here. When the Bassmasters comes to town the week before the Skeeter Owners Tournament, everybody is going to watch where those guys are fishing, and every spot those guys catch fish on, people are going to fish it during the Owners Tournament. That's going to happen. And I'm not telling you that you should go fish the exact spots these guys are fishing. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Go do it. That's fine. It's whatever. You know, it's public knowledge at that point anyway. You ain't cheating. Everybody's seeing where they're fishing on live coverage and all that. So it's not like you're like getting information in a, unsavory way.
Right.
Go fish. But also what you need to do, and the guys that are going to capitalize on this the best, and this is what I say about like our Fish Life app, right? We put the spots on the Fish Life app on Lake Fork, premium package, blah, 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 all that. This is what I always say about that. The people that get the most out of that app and the people that will get the most out of the coverage on the Bassmasters the week before the Owners Tournament are going to be the people that pay real close attention, study those spots, educate themselves on their spots, and then go duplicate those spots and find their own version of that.
That's right.
When you do, like the app's the same way. Like, yes, this app will put you on fish and you'll catch big fish using it, but you'll really catch a lot of big fish if you take the information on the app and expand on it and duplicate it.
Take what you know and apply it.
Absolutely. I don't even know where we were going there, but I just went off on a I'm talking about, listen, I just told all the dirty secrets. I got after some folks right there. I don't know if y'all know, but we ain't scared to drop the fire around here.
Well, I mean, it's just, you talking about that Brandon Cobb deal and the jerkbait, it reminds me of how many more people did you see throwing a 6XD after Keith Combs busted them?
Yeah, I mean, deep cranking's always kind of been a thing on Fork, but right, there was a lot of, listen.
Yes.
There was a lot of people back in 2014, the TTBC tournament. Combs went out there with that 10XD or 6, whatever it was. And yeah, all of a sudden, like, here's the deal. Side note, that's the year I started guiding.
There wasn't a boat on the bank.
So back when I had my old job and then I was guiding too, one of the ways that I built my business and kind of, like everybody knows me as having the reputation of being a shallow water guy that catches them shallow year round. You know why? Because in 2014, they busted them out there, and nobody was fishing back in the back of the creeks and stuff in the middle of summer. And I had those fish completely to myself, which allowed me to capitalize on that, catch a lot of big fish, and it built my reputation a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, yeah, that happened. Everybody went out to them points.
Yo, yeah, everybody.
And I spend a lot of my time on Lake Fork, as much pressure as it gets. I try to zig when others zag. So, like, I like to get out deep early. Like, people are like, well, they think of me as a shallow water guy. It doesn't bother me that people think of me as a shallow water guy because I'm very comfortable in shallow water. It is what I grew up doing, and I'm a grass fisherman and all that. But when I moved here, Lake Fork got real low real fast. I moved here 10 years ago in 2009. In 2011, Lake Fork reached an all-time low, and all I did was fish offshore. I love fishing out there offshore. It's much easier, especially as a guide, for me to take customers out there and say, okay, throw that way and just keep throwing that way. And then they catch them right there.
Yeah.
Versus covering a shallow area with, more complex structure and cover
Multiple
dynamics
targets,
with stumps and grass. I'd much rather get out there on a road bed or a bald point and have a school of fish and go to whacking on them. But when I'm having to share that with 13 other guys, I'd rather go to the back creek and have it to myself. So that's kind of what I try to do. I try to get out there on those fish early before everybody else does, while people are still looking up at the banks. When the first few waves, 2 or 3 waves, or one wave of spawners really starting to get offshore, I like to be the first one out there to catch them.
Early April?
Yeah. Because the deal is, I might not, like the schools I find in like the end of April or middle April or early May, like some of those schools I find, they may not be the big 40, 50 fish schools. They may only be 5 to 10 fish, but I'll catch all of those 5 to 10.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. So you ready for the...
Okay, I'm sorry. We're going to have to let's rehash the BASS schedule just real quick. Hit me with it. Don't include the classic. Let's go.
All right. St. John's River. I cannot say that tonight. February 6th through the 9th.
Okay.
February 14th to the 17th is to be announced. April 2nd through the 5th is Lake Eufaula. April 16th through the 19th is Sam T. Cooper. And then May 29th through June 1st is Sabine River.
And then June is Fork.
And then June is Texas Fest. That's right.
Cool. So no tournaments in March for BASS. Interesting. Okay. Give me BPT.
BPT, we go to Eufaula, February 7th through the 12th.
Before Bassmaster.
Right. February 21st through the 26th, the Big O.
Nice.
March 13th through 18th, Lake Fork. April
Before.
That's right. April 3rd through the 8th, Jordan Lake, Falls Lake, and Sharon Harris Reservoir.
That's North Carolina.
That's North Carolina.
And when is that?
April 3rd through the 8th.
Before they go to Santee Cooper.
May 15th through the 20th, Kissimmee Chain. June 5th through the 10th, Lake Winnebago.
What the heck is Lake Winnebago?
Wisconsin.
Is that like a Upper Mississippi River type deal?
Lake
maybe?
Butte, Morris, and Green Lake.
Okay. Awesome.
And then
whatever
St.
that
Louis,
is, they're
and
going
then-
to Wisconsin to catch frogfish.
And then St. Lawrence River in June, and then Champlain to kick it out, or to round it out in July.
Nice, dude. That is a really strong schedule. That's a good schedule. It is interesting to me how BPT put a lot of tournaments on same or very close proximity bodies of water before the Bassmaster hits them. That's interesting. And you know what I think they just did? I think they did something, and this is how life often makes this happen, right? But I think what just happened was BPT was trying to cut them off at the head and get the shine on these bodies of water before they do. Mm-hmm. And I think what they did is they just set themselves up for failure. Because if you look at that, they're going to Eufaula in February. Mm-hmm. Bassmaster's going to Eufaula in early April.
That's right.
It's going to fish better in early April.
100%.
And it's going to fish better for numbers. And BPT is a numbers tour.
That's right.
It's going to fish much better for numbers in early April when Bassmasters is there. And big fish too. Then they're going to Fork in March. And Bassmaster's going to Fork in June. Boys, early to mid-March is not the best time to go catch numbers on Fork. In fact, you draw the wrong cold front that week, it's hard to catch a fish sometimes in March. Mm-hmm. I know March kicks out a lot of big fish, and that's true. Those early spawners get up there, and Fork does produce really amazing days in March. It also produces extremely difficult days. And the one thing that is true about March, it is not the best numbers month, not even close. It's one of the worst numbers months.
Hero zero.
Except on the right weather days. So that one could backfire on them as well. Whereas, bro, by the time you get to end of May, early June, and especially with those kind of anglers, that offshore deal, and there'll still be a little bit of a shallow deal for the guys that want to do that, like, they're gonna. I'm telling you, that Bassmaster tournament in June is gonna be a dang whack fest, unless we get flooded the night before the tournament again, like we did last year.
Right.
Which they still caught like 30-pound bags every day.
Yeah.
Even if the flooding, like, they might break. Like I said this last year, and I feel like if it wouldn't have flooded the night before, they would have broke the record. But that May tournament with the Bassmaster is going to be a good opportunity to break the all-time tournament record.
That's right.
Weight. It is going to be a good opportunity for the all-time weight record to go down. I think BPT and they're going to Sharon Harris, which is a good lake, but it's not Santee Cooper.
You're right.
Santee Cooper is a hammer hole, son.
Yeah, buddy.
So they did it out of spite, and they might have just cut their nose off to spite their face. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, the shame of it is they've got all the things set up for success with the BPT. They've got the world in the palm of their hands, and they're throwing it away. Through their TV programming, the way their TV show is set up. Obviously, like we said before, once before on this podcast, we are just outsiders looking in. I'm just a fan, and I'm going to watch. I'm going to consume as much of it as I possibly can time-wise in my life.
Yeah,
I'm going to see every part of it that I can. But they're not treating. They're doing something over there that's upsetting some people.
That's right.
Upsetting people so bad that they paid $50,000 to leave. That means the people fishing your tournament, a portion of them are very, very unhappy. Like, to an extreme level where they'll pay $50,000 to go fish somewhere else. That's never in the history of the sport.
No.
Has anybody paid $50,000? Because it's not like there's just a ton of money rolling around in this sport. Like, yeah, some of these guys, the very top end guys like Gerald and Brandon, the two that left BPT to go back, those guys got some money. They're making some good money. But not like Major League Baseball money, where $50,000 is not a big deal.
Yeah.
$50,000 is a very big deal to Gerald Swindle and Brandon Pollock. I promise you it is.
100%. Oh, yeah.
And never in the history of the sport has anybody thought about paying to leave a professional level tour. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever wrote a check to leave a tour level. Like,
no.
So there's something wrong with what they're doing, obviously, on their angler side. There's definitely something wrong with their TV program. It sucks. I mean, the bottom line is that BPT television show sucks. It's terrible. It's dang near unwatchable, and I love the sport. Now, the Major League Fishing Summit Cup, I love that TV program. That's a great television program. I love it. Consume every episode I get a chance to. It's awesome. Never get tired of it.
Yeah.
So, they're dropping the ball in a lot of ways, in my opinion. Now, let's get into the other side of it. Let's look at some of the guys fishing each tour.
And I'm just going to go, I'm going to give probably about 10 of each, and the 10 that stick out to me on each side, and, we'll just kind of go off that and see what we come up with. So, let's go BPT first, okay? You've got a Odd Defo.
Odd Defo.
Jason Christie. David Dudley. Brent Ayler. Todd Faircloth. Edwin Evers. Greg Hackney. Tim Horton. Mike Iaconelli. Randy Howell. Let's see, my neighbor, Kelly Jordan. Had to drop it. That's my neighbor for those of y'all who don't know. Andy Morgan, Andy Montgomery,
Brian
Thrift, Jeff Sprague,
Jeff
Creed's one of them. Kevin Van Dam. There's that.
There's that.
Fred Rumbanis, which for those of you who may not know, used to be a big FLW guy.
Yeah.
Always been at the top.
Several of these guys went through FLW at one point, right? Yeah.
Terry the Big Show. Scoggin.
Big Show, yeah. These are all really big names in the sport.
Boyd Duckett. Yeah,
really
it literally. Alton Jones, Paul Elias. Literally.
It just keeps going.
Yeah, it just keeps going. It's such
the names.
The Lane brothers, the Lee brothers.
The Lees and the Lanes.
I mean, come on, man.
That roster is
incredible.
It's the best fishing. Well, okay, let's be fair. Before we say that, let's cover some big Bassmaster names. Bassmaster Elite Series. Obviously, Gerald Swindle and Brandon Polinick.
Right.
They're back at Bassmaster.
Okay.
Two of the biggest names in the sport. Okay.
Matt Airy's
good.
Stetson Blaylock.
That's very good.
Scott Canterbury.
Chris Zaldane. Seth Fighter.
Hank Cherry, which was a rookie 2 years ago. Y'all watch out for Hank Cherry, I'm just telling you. Rick Clunn. Keith Combs. John Cruz. Hammer. Let's see who else we got. We already said Seth. Micah Frazier's another good one. Jeff Gustafson, another good one. Jamie the Hammer Hartman. Matt Herron, another good one. Kelly J. The Johnston brothers.
Okay, stop. Just stop.
I'm just saying
just stop. You just said Kelly J and the Johnston brothers, and on the other tour we're talking about.
Yeah. Kelly Jordan and
Greg Hackney.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know.
Kevin Van Dam.
I know, yeah.
Okay, so listen. The Johnston brothers, Gussie, all these guys are amazing anglers. They're really, really good. And I'm not, right now, they might be able to keep up with some of these guys. And in individual tournaments, no doubt, that's how fishing works. They could. But what makes a fisherman a legend is his ability to beat the best over time. This is my problem with today's Bassmaster Elite Series tournament. This is my problem. Brandon Polnick and Gerald Swindle are two of the best to do it in our generation.
Correct.
They're two of the very best, biggest names in bass fishing. 100% agree with that. Keith Combs is up there. There's other guys. Who are some of the other big names on the Elite Series? Chris Zaldane. Seth Fighter. He's still young in the game, but he's done a lot. These are some of the biggest names in the world. The problem is now, every time Chris Zaldane wins an Elite Series, he didn't beat Kevin, he didn't beat Greg, he didn't beat Ike, so he is not competing on the best tour. I don't care about format, whatever. Listen, the format's the format. I get it. I would rather see them catch 5 big ones than the bunch of little ones. I agree with everybody on that. But the format is the format. The Bassmaster Elite Series is no longer the prestigious win if you don't beat all those guys.
I agree. And the main problem for me is a few of those guys that we mentioned in the Elite Series still, those are the guys that I want to see thrive. But like you said, when they win,
they have to beat the best to be the best.
That's right. When they win,
that Brandon Cobb victory on Lake Fork last year was one of the best tournament fishing performances I've ever seen. And somehow it didn't mean as much because he didn't beat all those guys.
It was a little bit disappointing. I'll agree.
It didn't mean as much because he didn't beat all those guys.
That's right.
And the problem with the BPT is they've got all these guys, and they're not using the best thing format to test your abilities.
They're catching 1-pounders.
So we're getting shorted on both ends. This is bull. Like, this sucks. If you are a hardcore tournament bass fishing fan, this freaking sucks. Like, give me the best field with the best test of their abilities. Please, somebody build the best field and put them to the best test.
And don't do this back and forth bull crap.
Yeah.
Let the fans pick
what the hell are they even do now? Like, what are they even, like, just the format anymore? Now they've got your biggest fish from this tournament, your biggest fish from that tournament, and blah, blah, blah. Weigh the best 5 or the best 10. I don't care.
Best something.
Don't count every fish in a pre-fishing tournament with the best anglers in the world. That is the most ridiculous crap I've ever seen. Like, it's so stupid.
Or if MLF's going to go to a Lake Fork, a prestigious big bass fishery, arguably the best in the world, you can argue with me, you're going to lose. But make it to where not a scoreable bass. I don't want to hear that. A scoreable bass at Lake Fork should be 3 pounds and up, period.
Well, I'm okay with them using a 14-inch minimum, or I'm okay with them using a 1 pound minimum. I don't care about that. And I don't care if it's Lake Fork, and I don't care if it's Table Rock. It's the best 5. Listen, it's not as hard to go to Table Rock and catch 100 2-pounders as it is to catch 5 4-pounders.
Yeah, agreed.
Go to Table Rock and catch 5 4-pounders.
Yep.
That's doing something.
That's right.
Like, we all know this. Everybody in the sport knows this. And the problem is, it's not about the sport. With BPT, it has become about 2 things. It's become about, yes, it's let me collect myself before I'm getting a little riled up now. I'm getting a little heated, boys. I gotta calm down. Sorry for the microphone's probably been blowing out because I've been screaming. Yeah, hold on. Strap your seatbelts in, folks.
I got my hat on backward. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. You just hit 5th gear.
You done turn the hat around. I'm about to drop it back down in the 4, though. I got to calm down a little bit. We might have a blowout here in a minute.
My hat was finna fly off. I had to turn it around.
That's right. So, oh God, where was I? The problem with BPT is the purity of the sport and the competition, and what is truly the best way to compete in the sport does not matter to them. What matters to them is dollar bills. And I get that it's a business. I understand that. You can still run a very successful... Bassmaster was not broken as a business model. They make plenty of money. You didn't need to change the format to make the money. You left what the sport is all about behind. The true test of angling abilities. That got left behind for dollar bills. And number 2, out of damn spite and ego.
That's right.
You're doing it trying to prove a point. You're not doing it for what's best for the fishermen. You're not doing it for what's best for the fans. You're not doing it for what the best test of the sport is. You're doing it to, like, prove a point, like get back at somebody and tell them that they're wrong and you're right.
And, well, the biggest problem that I have with the whole situation is there's like 9 to 11 guys that are competing in that field that own the freaking brand. So,
yeah.
I mean...
Well, that was their whole deal. You know, they said they're going to have an angler board and the anglers are going to have a say. And even though we own it, we created it, we're going to let you guys have a say in how it's ran and blah, blah, blah. So technically, you all kind of own a part of it, just not financially. And we're going to make it better for you and on and on and on and on.
Here's the deal. If all that was true, you would have not had people paying $50,000 to get away from you. Period.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed.
And that's the problem I have.
Obviously, they're not keeping their commitments they made to the anglers.
Correct.
Obviously.
And it makes me so mad for the simple fact of there may not have ever been a better field of quality anglers than there is right now.
The only one that listen, what's better, Thrift and Dudley or Paul, Nick and Swindle? That's kind of a wash in my opinion.
Well, I don't know. Let's fish together on a best 5 format and let's figure it out.
But we can't. Because we got to prove a point, and we got to say that we were right and you were wrong, and Bassmaster, you suck, and we're better than you.
Yes.
That's crap. Do it the right way and let the consumer tell you who's best.
That's right.
You know what? Hey, BPT, guess what? You won. You got all their good sticks. You got the best fisherman on earth with the exception of very few. You won. You had it, and now you're throwing it away. You're like Peyton Manning against the Patriots throwing 4 picks, baby. You suck right now. You're choking away a win. Like,
You're not even giving these, like, you're not even showcasing their abilities, and you have the best.
You had the game won, and you're finding a way to lose it, BPT. Congratulations.
That's right.
Golly, they make me.
It pisses me off because, seriously, like, you think about the depth of the fishermen from both series.
know.
Like, it's never been this good, ever.
No. I mean, the best field of bass fishing talents ever been assembled is either last year's BPT or this year's BPT.
That's right.
They still have the best field ever, unless maybe last year's was better. If you think Swindle and Palnick are better than Thrift and Dudley, I don't know how you do. They're really close.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a watch. So really, again, we have the best bass fishing field that's ever been assembled, tournament, talent-wise, fishing BPT this year, and we're not going to put them to the best test. We're going to watch them chase 1-pounders around a lake because that's how this format dictates they do it. And that freaking sucks.
Like I'm still going to watch it. Again, make no mistake about it, I'm still going to watch it. But I don't want to see these guys catch goldfish all day.
I know. I don't mind seeing them do that, but I'd much rather it be the best test.
Yes.
I think we need to stop because we have ranted. Like, I've gone, like, my head hurts.
Dude.
My head hurts.
God, I'm going to be mad the whole way home.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking to my steering wheel. And it's not going to like what I have to say.
Might even slap it around a little bit.
I
huh?
might. I just might.
Might get a little rough with that old steering wheel, old son.
Boy, hey, at least it won't be in the cold. Because I'm going to tell you what, I had about enough cold weather and wind yesterday to last my entire life.
Well, listen, we got fired up about this. We turned it loose and let it rip. And I feel like, to kind of bring it back down to a normal level, obviously you can tell we are both passionate about the sport. We love this sport. We want to see, like, this is all coming from a point of view of a fan and what I want to see as a fan.
Correct.
And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. And if you feel the same way, drop us a comment right now. If you're watching on YouTube, comment there. Podbean, you can comment there. Give us a comment, whatever format you're consuming this with. Let us know if you agree with our point of view on what's happening in professional fishing. Let us know if you think we're idiots. We accept that. Listen, we don't delete comments around here unless it's, inappropriate and children watch this. So,
right.
Well, hopefully not this one particularly, but, you know, at least not the last 15 minutes of it.
We'd love to hear feedback is basically what we're saying because we'd love to argue with you next week if you don't feel the same way.
Like, we'll accept your opinion and then we'll tell you how dumb it is.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just kidding. We're just kidding. No, we will not do that. We do respect each and every one of you guys, of course, to have your own view. And we want to know what other fans think because all the people we talk to tend to think the kind of same way we do. Right. And listen, if we're blind to what the masses want to see, I want to know that.
Right.
Like, I want to know that. Okay? So, yeah, we want your honest feedback and opinion always. But here's the deal, too, though. To kind of bring it back down to a normal level, I'm not disgusted with Bass Pro Tour. I'm just disappointed and wish it was a little bit better because it has an opportunity to be such an amazing tour.
Yes.
Like, it's not that it's not good. It's just that it should be great at worst, and it's not, and it could be amazing, and it's definitely not.
Right.
And so it's frustrating from a fan's point of view to see the potential this has to be amazing and just settle for good.
I'm all for a revamping of the industry as long as you do it the right way. Or not even necessarily
not revamping, but innovating.
Innovation's good.
Innovating and moving forward in the marketplace and all that's great. But man, I think they're just because of all the emotions that are involved in this deal and how personal it got between the powers that be at MLF and the powers that used to be that aren't even there anymore at BASS. There's just so much emotion and spite, and nothing healthy is going to come from that, and that's what we're seeing, unfortunately. Right. Man, I just wish it could be. There's a way,
Yeah, you got to dance with the one that got you there, in my opinion, and I feel like they had it in the palm of their hand.
I feel like we're being a little bit unfair to BPT because we're going in really hard on them, obviously. Let's go in a little bit on Bassmaster because by no means is the Elite Series the poor victim in this situation.
No, you're the reason this happened.
Yeah, you guys suck too, by the way.
Yeah.
You screwed this whole thing up in the first place.
We just think your format's a little better.
Yeah. Like, at least you've stayed true to the sport in the purest format, but on the business aspect of it, you screwed guys over on your tour for so many years that they walked away and built their own thing. Like, you, Bassmaster, being as selfish as you were over the years, caused all of this stuff to happen. Bassmaster is not the good guy or the victim in this situation.
Nope, not even a little bit.
They are the bad guy that caused this problem. Now they've created this other bad guy that's doing it to get back at this bad guy, and we got one bad guy that's trying to be good now and trying to move. Like, I appreciate the Bassmaster change some of their entry deals and make it better for the anglers. They're trying to do some of that, pay out better, blah. Like, they're trying to do all the right things, and they've made good steps. Is it where it needs to be? No, I don't think so. Is it going the right direction? Yes. And if it continues to move that direction, then they will get there and be the best tour, hands down. But why did it take 90% of your anglers leaving to make that happen?
Right.
Because you did it so wrong for so long.
This has basically become Alien versus Predator fishing edition. It's essentially what it's become.
You know, man, you've got a way with words, my man.
I'm telling you, two bad guys against each other. Who's going to win? We don't know.
I'm too, I really, this is why I bring you on. This is why I wanted you to do the podcast with me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that you're so much more involved this time around than you were the first time around on the podcast, because there's just every once in a while you throw a nugget in there that just kind of puts the dadgum cherry on top, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Extra whipped cream on the sundae.
I can't wrap it up no better than that. I will tell you this, and I should have said it in the beginning. Next podcast, we got to mention it in the beginning, but shout out to my boy Luke Duncan, who runs probably the best bass fishing podcast on earth today.
Yes, I listen to it.
It's called Low Budget Live.
That's right.
LBL, NSL, if you've watched it before, you know what that means.
That's right.
But Low Budget Live is the name of the podcast. You can find it on the YouTube channel, Travel and Circus, Low Budget Live on iTunes, all the podcast areas. But Luke has been allowing us to use his music.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Luke. Great music, by the way.
Jams.
Go buy his daggum album. It's always linked. When we use it, we link Luke's music in the description when we use his music. Right. If you like the song that you heard in the beginning and the one you're starting to hear now, then go click that link and buy Luke's album. And I'm going to tell you, I just spent a week or half a week with a guy. Amazing dude. Passionate about the sport. Loves the game. Family man. Like, just a great, great, great guy that I'm very happy to know and call a friend of mine now. And appreciate him letting us do that. We want to show him support. You guys go buy his daggum album.
You won't find a song you don't like.
Because this highway does not know his name.
That's right. That's right.
Chris, this was a fun one.
This was a fun one.
I got to get a little fired up.
Yeah, you did.
A little hot under the collar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can be cool like Luke and get an email from Tim Horton or somebody. Because they're mad at me. Tim Horton's going to want to come. Listen, if more than 5 of you listen, Tim Horton might come on. So y'all start listening to this.
Yeah, come on with it. We want to hear your side, Timmy.
I don't think Timmy wants to talk to me.
I don't think he really wants to.
I probably wouldn't be as nice as Luke. Luke works for TH Marine, and he was nice to Tim when he came on his show.
Right.
I don't have to be nice to Tim Horton.
Right. Anyways, another squirrel, another day.
Yeah. We're rambling, meandering towards the end. Hey, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Chris, thanks for helping me out as always. Hey, shout out to J-Bo, John Bolin. Can't wait to get him to Lake Fork where we can forget about all the drama in the fishing world. Me and him just go out there and have fun with each other and catch them.
That's right.
Maybe pull a prank or two on each other every once in a while, something like that.
You know what? He might be pretty innovative with the pranks. You don't know, dude.
He might have a new perspective on that as well.
21 years old, ready to prank.
I don't know if now I kind of don't want to do the prank war with him. I don't know him well enough.
Yeah.
I kind of knew where the deal with Ronnie was going. I don't know where this prank war will go. I'm kind of scared a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Man, we could keep doing this all night. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, check out all our sponsors, 6centfishing.com, Smash Take Bait, the Fish Life app. Everything's linked below as always. And we'll see you guys next time. Chris, send us out. Do something creative and inspiring.
Peace out and peace on you.
Heading my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare. Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.